All right, so now we can get started.
Hey.
So first, I want to thank you for taking time to be a part of this project. Uh,
Yeah, thank you. No, thank you for having me. Thank you.
no problem. So what we're essentially going to do with this interview is I'm going to transcribe what we talk about, and I'm going to turn it into a garment that we're going to put in a museum exhibit for my Art Basel presentation.
I love that because you're so talented. Like, to have you, local and everything, and now you're international, like I'm excited for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So let's start by I want to take a deep breath together so that we can kind of get ourselves into like a space for sharing and all those kind of cool and very vulnerable things that I'm asking for in a moment's notice.
Oh,
Okay.
now, do you hear anything in the background, like things I need to it should just be silent or
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. All right. On the count of three. One, two, three. There you go. How do you feel?
I'm feeling good.
All right. So the first question I'm going to ask is, well, first I want to define like what we mean by like the feeling of being arrested. So feeling arrested is kind of like in terms of any space or any time that you can think of where you can't show up 100% as the self that you want the world to see.
No,
You
yeah,
know? So,
yeah.
if, just for instance, if you say like when you go to work, you feel arrested in the way where like you have to code switch,
Mm,
or
all
or
right.
like if you're in certain spaces and or around certain people, you feel that you can't like show up as the 100% C, then that's kind of like what it means to feel arrested. So just want
All
you to
right.
keep that in your mind.
Oh yeah, I resonate that. Resonate with that definitely every day.
So let's start with defining when you feel you are your most powerful self. Like when do you feel the most powerful?
I feel the most powerful when I am creating my instrumentals. I don't have a lot of say so about, what I can create because I'm not knowledgeable in that, but I felt like that came natural. Like that's my gift. And that's definitely where I feel most powerful is being able to create.
And it's because it's kind of like uninhibited. You don't have any rules. It's just like what you want to create.
Exactly. Or if I'm able to collab with certain people, certain artists, that makes me feel, just as powerful because we're both bringing, our talents and our gifts together and, creating something. So I just feel like, creation of anything that's very powerful.
And when you share it with people, do you feel like the reception changes how you create in the future, or is it just like a thing where it's like this is a piece of me and now you have it?
It's actually both. For I guess what am I trying to say? When I make instrumentals for people, it feels like we created a baby.
Mm,
um I don't feel like, I'm giving that much of myself. I definitely give myself more than I give to other people.
hmm.
So yeah, in that aspect, yeah, I enjoy giving it little fractions, but it's never the whole part.
Okay. Now, what about a time or in a space where you feel the least powerful?
Oh, okay. So yeah, I feel the least powerful. Um, that is a good question. I think I feel the least powerful if I am doing something inhibited. You spoke earlier about, me feeling powerful and, creating something because someone isn't like on my back to do it, commission me to do it. But if I'm like working for someone else, that's where I feel the least powerful. I'm making you rich, I'm creating your dream, and it's kind of hard like if we don't have the same mission. You know what I mean? I'm
Right.
just laser focused on your mission and what you want to do or what you want to get out of me. So that's definitely like, okay, so now I got to give more of myself than just that little part that I
Right.
can control.
So when you are like creating beats for people, do you see that like that there's space for unity in that way where like you can interject yourself into their vision, or do you see it solely more or more so like I'm creating for this person. So you remove self.
Well, yeah, that definitely all depends on the artist or the person that I decide to collaborate, because sometimes they, they come in laser focus as well as like, this is what I'm trying to do. And I can definitely be on like, okay, I can see where you're going. I can see where you're going. And only if I'm just like, well, let me try this. Do you mind if I try that? So, that's how I interject, can't get it out, it's biting myself. Interject myself into it without, like I said, giving too much.
Right. So let's talk about showing up into the world, like how you show up in this space. How would you describe how, like, or what you think people's perception of you when you show up is?
I've been definitely told that like I'm bubbly, I'm upbeat. I'm very optimistic when it comes to things, like even in the midst of adversity. So I'm just, I think, and I like to give that off. Like the world is so negative, I like to be that positive light and encourage other people to be just as positive. So I think, I enjoy when people, say like, oh, she's bubbly, she's funny, like,
Mm-hmm. And do you use your like wardrobe to kind of express that idea?
Yes, my wardrobe definitely transitions through the ages. Like one day I'm feeling 90s, one day I'm feeling 80s, one day I'm feeling 70s. So I feel like, I I can transition anything just based upon what I feel that day. I probably just watched a sitcom of a different world or something, and I'm just like, oh, I can rock that. Let me go ahead and do that.
So when you're putting together an outfit, like, do you have a process, or is it more so just kind of like you were saying, how you feel in the day or in the
I kind of, well, yes, I do have a process. First, I go through my closet of all my new clothes and say I have nothing to wear.
moment?
So once I get over that and be like, okay, stop being a baby, there's something in there. I kind of pick like, okay, so which color haven't I tried? You know what I mean? Like, I try maybe like, I don't know, like, maybe some weird color, maybe like a dark purple, like aubergine or something. It's just like, there's so many colors. I used to take color theory in college, so it just is opening up a whole new world of just like, okay, I don't have to just wear that shirt because it's that style, like let me wear it for the color and see what else can I experiment with. So I'm more so about like color.
Got it. Okay, and then the color kind of translates into the feeling, and then that's how you are showing up in that day.
Exactly. So I'm just like, okay, well, this garment actually looks good with this color, so I'm just like, let me rock that. Like today I'm feeling olive green.
And that's one of my favorite colors, to be honest. And I love your nails too.
Oh, thank you.
So when you are shopping for clothes, do you feel like there are enough options, or are you a person who feels inhibited by like a limiting expression when dressing yourself?
I definitely do think, well, let me say this. I used to think that that financially, based upon like how expensive or how cheap the clothes are, they kind of like dictates how you look. And I kind of, I kind of wanted to move away from that. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that actually do that because I love thrifting. And so if I find something that looks expensive, and feels expensive, but I actually bought it for a low price, I'm just like, okay, that's how I can move. I don't have to feel so limited by like buying, I don't know, Jean-Paul Gaultier or things like that. It's just like if it looks expensive and it feels, because there's a lot of fabrics in the thrift store that feels really, really nice, that a lot of people who bought designer clothes throw away. So yeah, I used to feel like, oh gosh, I can't afford that. So, I'm gonna look a certain way if I buy it cheaper. But no, it's just, prices should not be limited at all. Go to the thrift store.
For sure. And so when you're putting together your outfits and you're showing up in the world, do you feel like people respond directly to you or to what you're wearing?
That is a good question. I think I want to say both. If you're wearing anything and you don't have confidence in it, then it's just like, people are going to notice that. You know what I mean? Like they can say, "Oh, that jacket is cute, but it's not as, oh wow, you look great."
Yeah.
Like there's some, very, very genuine reactions when people say, oh, wow, you look, oh, you look cute, oh, you look great, because there's that confidence there. But then they'll go into say, like, if you don't have confidence, they'll be like, oh, that jacket is cute, and they'll just keep walking.
Do you feel as a woman that you have to like limit what you wear in certain spaces to allow for like a variation of attentions or interactions?
Not at all. I'm gonna be honest. I have an obsession with buying male clothes and making it feminine. Uh, and my obsession actually with that started when my dad, he had got married, and he asked me to be his best man.
Oh,
And
nice.
I've never been a best man before, but if you've ever watched Sex in the City, the second one, when Carrie had, like, she was the best
Movie,
man,
yeah, when she wore the crown and everything.
I went all out with that. So I'm
Right.
just like, and I've never actually wore like, like a feminine tux before or whatever. So I don't feel like, my gender, dictates like what I'm going to wear, what I don't wear. Unfortunately, I feel like it's different, that narrative, when it comes to males, because not a lot of people see like males in skirts and dresses, things that are known to be quote unquote feminine. But I think, like I said, if you take it and you jazz it up and you make it your own, nobody would ever know that, women, that's a dress. If anything, it's a fashionable kilt now. So, like, I don't, ever be limited by, your gender when it comes to fashion. It's supposed to be fun.
Yeah, they're just clothes at the end of the day.
Yeah. Well, except for yours is another dimension of like, I love it. I remember one time, I want to believe that once, because you fuse, fashion with art, fashion and art are like kind of the same thing, but the way that you do it, it was just like, I want to believe I tried something like that before and I never wore it because I was embarrassed. It did not come out well. So I'm glad you exist, because
Thank you so much. I appreciate
at
it.
all.
So, would you say to people who maybe feel like more rigid in their like expression with clothing when it comes to gender? Like, if you had to like give a statement to them about how they show up or how they present, what would you say?
I would say fashion is supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be, taken seriously, or like stick to one rule. Like I said, it's supposed to be fluid.
Right.
It moves across, generations after generation, decades after decades. Everyone has their own personal style. Fashion is, just capitalizing off, your own certain style. So it's just like, have fun with it. That's your freedom. Fashion is fun and freedom.
Is there an article of clothing or a thing that you either maybe when you were younger had to wear? Like, I know a lot of younger girls talk about like their grandparents making them wear slips to church,
No.
something like that. Is there like an article of clothing that you just don't understand, or just like could, if you could banish it, what would it be?
um, I will say this, that I'm pretty sure the parents, would jump down my throat because I don't have any children. So, this was my pet peeve: school uniforms.
Mm,
I I don't like, to this day, I still don't like school uniforms. I feel like, that's it's like a prison almost. Like, it's like a
mm,
huge institution. Like, allow them to express themselves. You can always get involved in your children wardrobe, like, oh no, you're not wearing that. Now, granted, there will be children that, sneak in garments and things like that. But like I said, just, I don't know, just stay adept, you know what I mean? Like, stay on top of it, if they allow them to be comfortable with showing you that, oh, this is what I'm deciding to wear. If it's too much, then it's just like, give them other suggestions. But school uniforms, I'm just like, that's very institutionalized. That's like a whole entire prison. Allow us to express ourselves, allow children to express themselves. Sometimes they do make really good decisions.
yeah, and sometimes they don't because kids
Yeah,
get to know
sometimes they
something very
definitely don't.
My niece, I have a niece who wore school uniforms, and I feel like at some point it became personally for her like a challenge to like
Mm,
find a way to still express herself
yeah,
while wearing the uniform. You know?
yeah,
So
yeah,
like I like that she took it in that direction versus just kind of like what you were saying, becoming kind of like oppressed by
yeah.
the weight of the uniform and always having to wear it.
Yeah. Like, be like that episode of Fresh Prince when he like turned his jacket inside out.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
just a
Like,
little something. You know what I
it's
mean?
just a little something, if you want it to be uniform, because I get it. Some people, they're just like, well, teenagers, children, they'll try it. You know what I mean? They'll push the limit. But I'm just like, we'll just allow them to express them a little bit. Cause I remember being in school and they would penalize you just for even trying to like, dress up your uniform. It had to
Right,
be like standard.
right.
So
The book.
So I'm just like, okay, well then I guess I got to experiment with my hair color, my makeup, my
Mm.
nails or whatever. So like give us more expression with uniforms, but I cannot stand uniform.
So outside of when we're getting dressed or when we're creating, can you think of any other space where you may feel that feeling of like being arrested?
Yes, I feel arrested sometimes as an artist. You feel arrested financially.
Mm,
Even though you love doing what you do, and that heart of yours might sometimes tell you to just go ahead and do it for free. It's kind of difficult to continuously do something for free, even if you do love it. There has to be funding, and your friends get involved, and you want to give them a discount, or you want to do that for free. But at the same time, you got to pay for your equipment, you got to pay for the upkeep, you got to pay for your business. So sometimes I feel arrested by that mindset of just like, well, if I want to continue my dream, I have to be funded, I have to be sponsored. So thinking about money, even as an artist, you sometimes really just don't want to
hmm.
make it about the money. Sometimes you have to fall right back onto the money. So I feel arrested. I feel like, as soon as money becomes obsolete, I won't be arrested by that. But I feel like that financial mental mindset institution has a lot of us arrested.
Yeah, I understand that completely. So I just did an event in October, and it was actually the first time I ever was able to do an event with like funding, like from other entities, where I didn't have to raise the money or anything like that. It was the
Yeah.
first time someone
Spend
was,
someone else's money. That's the goal.
yeah, it was so the first time someone ever was like, "Here's a check, like do your thing." And when I tell you, I can never go back to doing things like on the shoestring anymore. Like it changed everything. It changed how people like received, like just like I've never seen people be so prompt to emails when they knew they're gonna get
Yeah,
paid.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it
They
does
know the price went up.
exactly. It just changes the game. So I'm like, everything from now on has to be in this similar energy. You know what I
Yes.
mean? I definitely understand that. What about with relationships? And we can be like, this can be platonic or it can be romantic. Is there spaces in relationships where you feel like you can't just go in being 100% yourself?
Um, Yeah, definitely. I am very playful. I don't know if it's the Scorpio thing, but sometimes maybe it can get a little immature. Maybe it can be too much, maybe be overstimulating. Sometimes I'm an only child as well. So you got like, you got Scorpio fever and you got an only child. So me, I just want to talk people probably like at 4 a.m., you know what I mean? Make jokes, maybe tickle fight or whatever. But it's, being in a relationship with someone who may be sometimes overly stimulated, sometimes need that 10 minutes of silence,
Mm,
something that I'm not used to because I always want to be sociable. I'm the social butterfly, but being with someone who's an introvert
hmm.
may need may need me to be arrested to just like chilling.
Right, right.
So yeah,
Okay.
that's feel like, sometimes with that, yeah, you can't always go 100% because people don't have that same level of like playfulness as you do. So now I got to keep that in mind. Like I said, I'm an only child, so I'm just like I tend to treat people like they're my siblings. Even though I don't have any, I'd be like, play with me.
Right. And so, how do you kind of work around that when presented with those, when you feel that arrestedness? How do you kind of like work around that to get to a space where you feel safe, or you can everyone feels okay?
Well, two things. I guess it would be to express my uncomfortability. Just saying like, hey, the way you asked me to do that kind of like, pinch me a little bit. I know you didn't mean to, but I'm just like letting you know, like this is how I feel.
Hmm.
But then also not taking it personal. Even there will be some times where I need some space. Like I'm not always on 100, at the same time that you're on 10, and vice versa. So it's just, don't take it personal. Humans have their pet peeves. Humans have their limit of tolerance.
Hmm.
So that's what I had to learn. It's just don't take it personal.
That's a really good sentiment. I know that I was talking to talking to my friend about someone that I newly started talking to. This was like a few weeks ago, and I was like, I don't feel like there's a lot of space for like grace for human, like a humanness in this. It's like
Yeah.
people kind of develop like almost like a fantasy of what they want a partner or a person of interest to be. And
Yeah.
the moment that you're like outside of the fantasy, it's like, oh, it's over, it's done. And I'm like, but wait a minute, like, first of all,
Yeah.
I wasn't aware of the fantasy. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
I didn't know that this is what I was having to work up to be or whatever. But then also like maybe that's not what I want to be. You know what I mean? Maybe I
Yeah.
just want to be myself or I want to be whatever I want to be
Right.
there. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Yeah. Like you can always definitely compromise, but I always say, like, if the compromisation doesn't, attack your integrity, your dignity, and things like that, then it's just like, okay, if you like me to be a maid service and I just don't feel like doing anything because that's who I am, then it's just like, okay, I'll compromise. I'll tweak that a little bit.
Right. Do you feel like there's been situations where maybe it's like a blurred line situation where you're like working with a friend, but you're both in a musician setting,
Mhm.
and there's been times where it's like, okay, this is my friend, but they're kind of maybe taking me outside of my friend's space in this work situation.
Yeah, that's definitely happened. And I hate to be sexist, but that's one of the reasons why, like, I really do prefer to work with more so women,
Hmm.
what I mean, or guys who are in a relationship. Because I feel like it's, of course, everyone is going to flirt now and then they're going to try it. Not saying that I'm the most attractive person in the world and that every person I work with has flirted with me, but it's just more so it makes me feel comfortable because I've been in that situation before where I'm just like, okay, this is just strictly business.
Hmm.
And my niceness, because I'm not aggressive saying like, hey, we ain't here for that. You know what I mean? It's more so like, oh, you're so crazy and keep on moving. That may be misinterpreted as like, oh, she may be
Let
with
me
it.
keep going. Yeah.
Yeah, so I found myself saying, well, maybe I should change my audience. Maybe I should change
Mm.
my partnership. So yeah, like that tends to happen.
You point more into working with more so women directly, and
Yeah,
then
yeah, yeah,
secondly would be like men in relationships or people who are
yeah.
comfortable enough to be able to
Yeah,
focus.
comfortable, you know what I'm saying? Like you don't actually have to be single in order to, for us to work. But I'm saying like, for me, like those are my choices, those are my preferences. If you're different, then yeah, of course, like let's go ahead and do it. But I've definitely been in a situation working with a friend before and did not know that, oh, apparently they want to be more than friends, you know what I mean? But I'm
Mm,
just here to do music.
right. And when you think of when you're creating music, and I know you spoke before about like it giving you that kind of like ultimate freedom. Have you ever been working on something for yourself, but felt like it wasn't kind of maybe there was something blocking something from getting through?
Yeah, all the time. Writer's block is definitely contagious. So I spend countless hours like trying to get projects done, deadlines met, but then it's just like life comes at you fast. So it's like just constant, like I said, it goes back to that being financially arrested. You know what I mean? Like you got to fund yourself, you got to sponsor yourself until you get like vintage Thrivals, you got like you checks. So it's just like, me, I pride myself on being like a beat making mobile studio. I'll come to you. So that's how I'm trying to fund myself. But it's like, yeah, having that constant arrested mindset, yeah, there's definitely a challenge trying to get projects out the way. Like that is that wall, just
Mm.
like a financial burden.
Now you also have a full time job as well.
Yes.
Okay, how do you find balance with like working and being dedicated to your job as well as like creating beats and making sure you have a healthy space to create in?
Well, I'm gonna be honest. Even though like, because once you clock in, it's like it's all about them. When you clock out, depending on what time you get off, it's like you're gonna have to thrust that hour in there. Even if it's 30 minutes every single day, just find that time for yourself. Even if you want to go to sleep, force yourself to stay awake. You know what I mean? Like you're going to get that necessary sleep, even if it's on break. But
Mm,
always find a way for you.
mm,
Always. There's like I don't no excuse because if you're allowing something like your full-time job to take away from your dream, take away from your career and your goals. Like I said, all you're doing is making somebody else richer. You know what I mean? And if you all are not on the same mindset, it's just like, okay, they're getting richer while you're getting poor. We both should be getting rich.
mm-hmm. Do you find that like your job ever influences your creative work?
Um,
And that can be positive or negative.
I'm gonna be honest. When I clock out, I don't want to think about nothing about that
I hear
job.
that. I hear
So, like, if I got to even take you home and then put you in a song, like, I'm doing bad. I don't even want to think about you.
I hear that. I like that too. So we're in our last 5 minutes.
Oh,
Any
so
other? I
bad.
know. I was looking at the time like we are really breezing through these questions. Um, any other spaces or like thoughts on the idea of feeling arrested,
um,
or even if you want to kind of leave it with like a message to people who may be feeling arrested and you want to share something with them to help them escape that space.
yeah. Let's see. Well, what you had asked me earlier about like fashion and how do I, express myself. That like I said, that's a form of freedom for me. Like when I'm not doing music, I express um my sound through my clothes. I always say like everything deserves a soundtrack. So
Mm.
yeah, so it's just like, if I'm facing writer's block, I'm just like, well, maybe if I switch up, what I'm wearing, like my style or whatever, maybe something, will come to me. And 9 times out of 10, it always do. I have no idea what the phenomenon is, but I'm just like music and fashion, like they marry each other for some odd reason. I don't know. The universe done made it happen. But that's my form of freedom. So if you're out there and you're facing a writer's block, if you're facing any type of block, no one, find your favorite playlist, find your favorite fashion, your favorite hat, your favorite coat, your shoes, listen to that down the street, and you will be free. You don't have to be arrested anymore. For some reason, I love it.
Yes, I love that. Thank you so much for taking
Thank
the time to
you.
talk to me. I really appreciate it. And like I said, I'll be transcribing this into a piece. And then when the piece is done, I'll, of course, send you some photos so you can see it. And then I'll be sharing with everyone the full exhibition when we go to set everything up in Miami on the 6th. We set everything up on the 6th, and then the exhibition's the 7th through the 10th. So
Okay, like, well, I'm so excited for you. Everything that you've been doing, like, I've been here trying to be fake, like we have not met each other at first. It's like I want to be professional, but it's just like like I'm so proud of you, and
oh,
it's so
thank
glad to
you.
see your face and everything. And just keep doing it. You know what I mean? Like you are being blessed immensely. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Like we need your fashions, we need your art.
I appreciate you
I
so
hope
much.
one day I could put a soundtrack to all of it. You having a fashion
So
show?
I would listen.
Drop the
It won't be a fashion
beat.
show, but me and I don't know if you're familiar with Eric Wilson. He goes by EW Images on Instagram.
Okay, no, I think I've seen that before. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna work on some kind of like I don't know if you're familiar with like the '90s Gap commercial, not the Gap. What it's like a Guess the '90s Guess jeans commercials.
Okay, yeah.
Like just people and kind of like a stark room, and they're just wearing like white t-shirts and jeans, and they're just like, when I'm wearing, oh no, it's Calvin Klein. That's what it is.
Okay, that's what I'm just
They're
like.
like
It's
when
either
I wear,
Calvin Klein or Tommy Hilfiger. It's funny
yeah,
though because it's like you can easily get Guess, Gap, Calvin Klein, Tommy Hilfiger,
exactly.
all
Because
that. Even
in the like
Abercrombie and Fitch, you can
time,
get them all in
they
there.
all had similar commercials.
Yeah,
They had that commercial where it's like, in my Calvins, I feel like I can do.
yeah.
So we're gonna do kind of like a parody of that.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
With vintage Thrivals pieces, but we're gonna do it probably in January, and that'll be kind of like the first thing we'll release in the new year.
Oh, I
So
love that. That's right around the corner.
yeah, so we might need some sounds. You know what I mean? So I'll be reaching out, and we'll be talking about it. But I want to set up the shoot dates and stuff with him first, and then we'll work everything.
I gotta find a way to get to Baltimore because I'm like, you be having, the advertisements for the modeling. I'm just like, I gotta find a way to get out to Baltimore.
Well, we'll be moving around a little bit, and I will probably do this either at his place or my place, which I live in Annapolis.
Oh, okay.
He lives
I live
in,
in Clinton, Maryland.
but I think he lives in Bowie.
Oh wow. Oh my
So
gosh.
we might be able to make something work.
Yeah, we got to.
Sure.
This was
But
fun. Like, thank you so much. Like I said, I'm so proud of you and your projects that are coming. So, like, I can't wait to see the finished project.
I
This was.
appreciate you so much.
I appreciate you.
All right. Talk to you soon.